As-salaamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. So we've been talking about how to memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Qur'an. And now in this final video, I just want to mention a few additional points of advice, inshallah. The first one is, what is the best time of day to memorize the Qur'an? Most people will usually say that the best and most easiest time is early in the morning. For example, after Salat al-Fajr, you sit and do your memorization, and this is a very good time to memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next point I will mention is, when you want to memorize the Qur'an, where do you start from? Do you start from the beginning or from the middle? Most people usually find it easiest to start from the back of the Qur'an. So to start from Surah An-Nas and memorizing the short surahs, and then to progress towards the longer surahs, towards the front of the book, inshallah. And the next point I will mention is that it's sometimes helpful to get something like this, just a simple MP3 player that has a microphone, and you can record. When you sit and memorize, you can record your voice, and then for the rest of the day, throughout the day, when you're driving in the car, when you're waiting for the bus, when you're walking, you can continually listen to your memorization, which will help to strengthen the verses in your memory, inshallah. The next very important point I will mention is that when we're trying to memorize the Qur'an and read the Qur'an, we need to make effort to understand the meanings of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to understand the meanings of the Qur'an. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down this Qur'an as a guidance to all of mankind. It's telling us how to live our lives, what to do, what to stay away from, everything. So subhanallah, we need to understand the meanings of what Allah is telling us, and not just read and memorize without understanding the meanings of what we are reading. So for those who speak English as a first language, I find helpful this book, which is Study the Noble Qur'an Word for Word, which is a word-for-word English translation of the meanings of the Qur'an. It's by As-salaamu publications. So basically, this will help you to get a general understanding of the meanings of every single word that you are memorizing. And also read like a simple tafsir, like for example Tafsir Ibn Kathir, which will help you also to get more of an understanding of the words that you are memorizing, inshallah. The next point I will mention is that we need to make a lot of effort. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for us, but we still need to make effort, and we need to be consistent and continue. We need to have patience. It's easy to make a lot of effort at the beginning, but the challenge is to continue at that level and not to get discouraged, and to have patience, to have sabr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Al-Baqarah, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, Inna Allaha ma'as-sabirin. O you who believe, seek help in patience and prayer. Verily Allah is with those who are patient. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who are patient. The next point I will mention is probably the most important out of everything I've said so far, which is that we need to have taqwa. We need to have fear and consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. And remember that Allah is watching us. And remember that we will be judged according to what we have done in our lives. So this will guide us to do what is good and to stay away from what is bad. So this is the key, to have taqwa. If we want to learn, we need to have this fear of Allah and consciousness of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Fear Allah, and Allah will teach you. And Allah is all-knowing of each and everything. The last point I will mention is that we need to make constant dua. We need to make supplication and ask Allah each and every single day. Raise your hands, ask Allah. When you make sujood, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for you. And Allah will answer your supplication. If you are sincere, inshallah, Allah will answer you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. And when my servants ask you, O Muhammad, about me, then verily I am close. I answer the supplication of the one who calls upon me. So let them respond to me and believe in me, that they may be guided. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who are guided. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. As-salaamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.